if you want to use hard money and you want to go out and you want to buy real estate, there's 3 things that you really need. The first thing is excellent credit. Now,
I said number 2.
Because I messed up on the PowerPoint. But I didn't want to fix it because I was like, you know what, that's really more important than the other one, the number 1. So I'll just leave it the way it is. It's kind of happened for a reason. I'll tell you a little bit about me. And this was a lesson that I learned, okay? It wasn't something that, my dad didn't tell me, hey, you need to have good credit, you do that, and teach me the discipline to do all that. When I was 18, I got out of high school and I traveled for 3 years. I went around, I went to Europe and stuff like that and just kind of disappeared and worked places and did stuff like that. I didn't care about business or anything like that, I mean, I went to college for 6 months, and then, obviously I came out and I came back and smartened up a little bit and jumped into this and got a lucky start and found an opportunity and was just in the right place at the right time and took advantage of it, and I've learned a lot since then. But credit was something I learned back then, and it took me a long time to really establish that and get it good. And today, more than ever, it's just so important. It really is everything, because from a lending perspective, looking back, like if I look at somebody, it tells me your character of the person, really. I mean, there's instances where that's not going to be true, obviously, but for the most part, like somebody stands by their word and they get a $200, Sprint bill or something like that, and they're mad at Sprint or something. If I look on the credit report and I see this guy's got 20 grand in the bank and he's got a $200 bill from Sprint he refuses to pay from 2 years ago, am I going to have a disagreement with him, and is he not going to pay me? So it's very important for the credit. Very, very, very important to keep that brushed up. The next most important thing is money. You don't have to have tons of money. I know there's lots of ways you can go out. You can do like the owner finance and the subject to and all that stuff that's real popular right now. I'm not going to dog that. I don't really know a lot about that. But I just know that there's some things that work almost every time. And there's some things that work, 1 out of 10 times, 1 out of 20 times, and you get lucky. And this works almost every time, okay? But you need money. I'd say for hard money lending right now, it's not like the old days. The old days we'd say, because I didn't own a hard money lending company, but I was working with other hard money lenders, and moving loans and things like that back in the day. And we used to say, first question was, do you got 10 grand in the bank? Now it's, hey, do you have between $30,000 and $40,000 in the bank? So it's gone up. People want to see that, and the number one reason is because they want to see an exit strategy beyond just selling this property. Because things are tougher today. People are still buying, fixing, and selling, but back in the day, obviously, anybody could do it, it seems like. So they want an exit strategy, and what I mean by that is they want to know you can refinance out, and when you refinance, you need to have some reserves and things like that. So that's why that money figure has gone up. You also need to have income, okay? I can't tell you how many times people will call me and they'll say, hey, I'll say, how much did you make on your tax returns the last 2 years? And they'll say, well, I made 200, last year, and I made 180 the year before, and I was in software, but I just quit my job and now I want to invest in real estate. Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to get a refinance. You got to have steady income, and if you're self-employed like a real estate investor, you need to be doing that for 2 years in order to show a track record, in order to get a refinance. So that's one of the big lessons they teach here at Lifestyles is don't quit your job. Do some real estate investing, and when you can replace your income, that's when you quit your job, right? So you got to have income. You got to be able to show that. You got to have to either 2 years tax returns if you're self-employed, or you got to have W-2s. That's so very important. At least for the strategy I'm going to show you.
So are we going to talk about credit in terms of like what number?
680.
680?
Yep. Anybody with a 680 or higher credit score, if you got a 680 credit score or if you've got an 800 credit score, you're the exact same person to me. I don't get excited when I see an 800 credit score just because anybody who has above a 680, they'll tend to, their credit will kind of fluctuate. Nobody is really active and just keeps that 800. If they are, then, hats off to you. But it kind of just, you're always going to kind of go up and down from there. But 680 is what I need. And the magic number, the way I come up with that, is that's what it takes you to refinance. Actually, you can refinance with a 620 right now. But a lot of times I'll give somebody a loan, and then 6 months later, they'll have, all of a sudden I'll pull their credit and I'll be like, man, you bought 2 other houses, you know, and their credit's going down or it's going somewhere temporarily or something like that. So if I do a 680, you're going to have more options as to where you can refinance, and we'll be sure that when I do a loan with hard money with somebody, the interest rate, you know, I want to make sure you're not stuck in it. You know what I mean? And we'll get to that later. Does anybody know what hard money rates are on interest?
14?
When I talk to people and tell them what my rate is sometimes, let's say they're not like a real shrewd investor, say I'm just talking with somebody at a cocktail party at a charity event. Hey, you know, what do you do? Oh, I lend money to real estate investors. Oh, great. You know, I'm looking at a deal over here. You know, my bank's going to give me 6%. How much is your rate? You know? I'm thinking like 16%, buddy. You know, then they're just like, who are you? You know, what are you, a loan shark? Get away from me. You know, nobody wants to, they don't understand because they're not in the business and they don't understand. Does anybody know why hard money's so high? Why the rate is so high? What's that? I just got 100 answers at once.
For 6 months. It starts out good for 6 months, and then you go into the conventional.
Exactly. Anybody else have something?
And also, you usually do the after repair value instead of the actual price list.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Extra risk.
my rate, the standard hard money like across the board right now is 4 and 14. That's what you see everywhere. I do 2 and 16 because I think it's more important to have the lower points, especially if you're going to refinance in 90 days. If you do the math and you do it, it ends up being a better deal for you. Mm-hmm. And we turn our money real easy, so it doesn't matter to me about the points. But anyway.
So 2 points and 16%.
2 points and 16%.
And the points are calculated on
The loan amount.
the loan amount.
Yep. And if anybody has questions about rates like after, I can email them. I've got this great spreadsheet. You call me up and you say, hey, I got a deal. They're selling it to me for this. I think it needs this in repairs. I'll look at the comps. You tell me what it's worth. I'll look at the comps and I'll tell you where I think it's probably going to appraise. Sometimes I look at these all day long, so I kind of know where the appraiser is going to come in. I can kind of know how to think like an appraiser by now. So you just call me up and you say, here's what I got. Here's the numbers. I'll throw it into my spreadsheet, and I'll send the spreadsheet back to you, and it'll show you all the closing costs, and then it'll project out. You tell me how many days you think it's going to take you to refinance or sell it, and I'll show you what equity you'll have, what your refinance costs are going to be. If you sell it, how much you're going to make in the profit. I'll throw in what your realtor fees are going to be, all that stuff. I'll calculate it all up for you and send the sheet back to you so you can look at it, and within 5 minutes you can evaluate the deal and you can decide, okay, do I want to do this deal? Do I not want to do this deal? Here's what Kurt's going to do. If I do, here's how much he's going to gouge me for. Here's what my payments are going to be over the 4 months exactly, what my taxes prorated are going to be, all that stuff. In a real easy format, I can send it to you. But anyway, getting back to the 16%, the reason it's so high is because the bank is going to give you $100,000 to buy a house, but they're going to give it to you to live in the house or to have it for 15 years, and it's, you know, you're going to have a tenant in it already or whatever, you know, for these programs. So they're taking a lot less risk, and they're guaranteed that 6% over that period of time, right? And every year you pay down the principal and their risk comes, you know, they get some of that back and their risk becomes lower. But what we're doing is we're entering a very volatile market because we're getting a house when it's a total piece of crap, when somebody just wants to get rid of it, you know, and then you're going in and you're fixing it up and you think it's going to cost 15, but I don't know if it's going to cost 10 or 20 or what's going to happen. I don't know if you're going to start doing it, there's going to be a big slab leak, and then you're going to just walk away from it and I'm going to be stuck with it. And, you know, so we're taking a much bigger risk here. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, when I say 16%, people are like, oh my goodness, you're robbing me. But like, you do the math, the difference between a 6% and a 16% interest only, it's like $700 over the, you know, the difference over the period of like 3 months or something like that. So you do the math, I'll show you on the spreadsheet and all that. And, you know, for us taking that risk for those 3 months and putting our money in a risky situation, we've got to get that 16%. But anyway, let's break down just kind of the numbers, how it works. Everybody know how you figure out how much the money the hard money lender is going to give you? You just look at what it's worth, the after repair value. Now, a conventional bank, they're going to give you an LTV. That's a loan to value. Let's say it's 80%. It's based on this number right here. Either the appraisal or what you're buying it for, whatever's less. Okay? And that's what they're going to lend you. So in this situation, they'd lend you like $42,000 or something. Hard money lenders, they know how to value the property. They know how to look and see the potential in what you're doing and what it's going to be worth. So they're going to give you money based on the after repair value. So hard money lender is going to give you about 65% of that. That's standard rate. We do 70 because we qualify our borrowers a little bit better. So that's why we have the lower points and the higher LTV. We'll do 70% of that. But let's just say let's use 65 because I'm not the only hard money lender in town here for this scenario. This is your deal. These properties, they're a dime a dozen. If you can't find these, just call Julian here. He's got tons of properties like this. $55,000 purchase price, $15,000 in repairs, $100,000 in. This is actually a property we rehabbed over in Carrollton. $100,000 is what it's going to be worth. You basically add all those things up, your price, your repairs, and your closing costs. That's $75,000, let's say. And you take what we're going to lend you, the $65,000, and you minus it off of what you need there, and that's your down payment. That's simple, real easy math. Okay, so you'd be coming with 10 grand on here. Here's the difference between conventional. You go to a bank, you're going to get a much lower rate. So if you can get one of these like HUD 203K loans or something where you're going to live in the house or something like that, you're going to get a great rate. 6%, not 16. You're going to put 20% down. That's $11,000. Remember, we were buying it for 55, so 20% of that, it's $11,000. Your repairs, you're going to pay for out of your own pocket, okay? Because you find me a great construction loan today, I'll shut down my business. You know? So the bank's not going to give you this money. You're going to have a long closing cycle. So you've got to, when you submit the contract, you got to say, listen, I'm going to close this in 45 days or 30 days because banks just take a long time. They got all these underwriters, they got all these people. Your cash out of pocket with your down payment and your repairs are going to be $26,000. So you spent $26,000 and you got a $100,000 house at the end of the day.
Not including closing costs.
I don't think that includes closing costs. Good point. Very good point. Hard money is very expensive if you use it improperly because you got a 16% loan. We're going to give you 65% LTV based on the after repair value. So you're going to come with $10,000 down, pretty much close to what you come down with on the conventional. The big difference, this is what hard money is designed to do. Acquire distressed property and give you the money to fix it up. Okay, so that's why we're called Sherman Bridge Lending, because we're a bridge loan. We're getting you from one side to the other. We're going to give you the $15,000. You're going to pay for it out of your pocket, but we're going to reimburse you at the end of the day. That's how we make sure we don't give you a $15,000 check and you just go to Vegas and throw it on red and you get red and you got 30 now and you're like, well, I don't even need to finish the house. You know? So we don't just give you the repair money. You fix it up out of your own pocket, and whenever you need money, you just call me up and I send my inspector over there. He's like, okay, you did the kitchen. You said you were going to spend $3,000. It looks like you spent $3,000. You said you were going to spend 10 on the roof. So you spent 10. Here's your money. And we release it to you. That's how we guarantee the repairs get done. Okay?
What kind of time frame is that?
You call me on a Monday, I usually get you a check on a Tuesday. But what I have in the guide that I give you is you got to get it to me by, if you get it to me Monday, I'll cut the check on Thursday. That gives me some extra time in case I'm out of town or something like that. Does that make sense? But I can usually do it in 24 hours.
Or if you have a contractor who will give you credit and you come do the inspection, you give him money back to him?
Yeah, I'd love to pay your contractor directly, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. That'll absolutely work. That's a real easy way to do it. All right. Also, it's a cash alternative. And here's what I mean by that.